Finally, this Memorial Day, we want to take you back to Arlington National Cemetery. This morning, we saw President Biden lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier there. It's a Memorial Day tradition that dates back decades. And why does the significance of this American monument still resonate 100 years after its creation? We went to Arlington and to the tomb to find out. Thousands of headstones line the rolling hills of Arlington National Cemetery, each bearing a name, each representing the nation's military dead. On a hilltop at the center of the cemetery, a burial site housing the remains of 3 war dead, whose names are known but to God.
It's a place of sacred honor. It's really the centerpiece for Arlington Cemetery. It's the heart.
The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is 100 years old this year. Its story of honoring the sacrifice of American service members begins in the days after World War I. Cemetery historian Tim Frank guided me through history as told through this new exhibit in the cemetery's display room. It tells the story of the British and French burying their unknown soldiers. The American people wanted a soldier given the same honor at Arlington, and Congress approved.
Teams went out to 4 American military cemeteries in France with instructions to disinter 1 unknown at each of those 4 cemeteries. They were instructed to place each unknown in a specific casket and then bring them to the City Hall in Chalon-sur-Marne, France for final selection.
The honor of choosing the unknown to return to America fell to Sergeant Edward Younger, a seasoned, decorated, and twice wounded soldier.
The caskets were rearranged in the City Hall of Chalon-sur-Marne, France, and then he walked in with a spray of roses. He circled the caskets a few times and placed the roses on one of those caskets. That became the unknown soldier.
The casket boarded a ship bound for Washington, where 90,000 people came to pay their respects as the unknown lie in state at the U.S. Capitol. President Warren Harding presided over the funeral on November 11, 1921, what was then Armistice Day, marking the end of World War I 3 years before. Today, it's Veterans Day.
They dug a crypt and then they placed the flat marble over the tomb. They always intended to complete it, and so they had a design competition, and the winning design is the design that you see today, and it was placed in 1932.
It's interesting to me, though, that at one time, anyone could walk up and literally kneel in front of the tomb.
This is a place where someone could go and say, this could be my husband, my father, my brother, my son, my comrade. And really, it could have been. He could be anyone. Mm-hmm.
Frank walked me through the exhibit and the turmoil the world endured. 3 more unknowns would be buried at Arlington: World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam. In 1998, Vietnam's vet, First Lieutenant Michael Blassie of the Air Force, was identified, and his remains were returned to his family.
1 year later, the empty crypt was rededicated to honor America's missing personnel in Southeast Asia, and it remains empty to this day.
One of the most storied elements at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier has been the 3rd Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard. They are the sentinels who've stood watch over the tomb for more than 70 years. In the guard quarters near the tomb, 688 Army soldiers have studied and trained to earn the Tomb Guard Identification Badge. They prepare with exacting precision in their appearance and mission. It is a spectacle for the thousands who flock to the tomb every year to watch the changing of the guard ceremony and to pay their respects. But for the sentinels who stand watch over the tomb day and night, in the storms of summer and the snow of winter, the mission has a deep meaning. Chelsea Porterfield is one of 5 women to earn a badge and the current commander of the Guard.
It's not just a ceremony. Yes, those soldiers look really crisp and they're sharp and they practice and they put hours into it. But they're brothers, their cousins, their dads, their husbands, and they're doing it in an honorable way for those 3 that didn't get to.
That's part of the story the cemetery is telling during the tomb's centennial commemoration this year, and the major event planned for the anniversary on November 11th, to include a full military procession, much like the original funeral 100 years ago, complete with a caisson, marching units, and a flyover.
I think that recreation of the procession represents the significance and the beginning of the honors that we pay in recognition of the unknowns.
In the days leading up to that ceremony, and for the first time in the tomb's history, the public will be invited, as presidents and dignitaries have been, to lay flowers at the tomb.
Why is it important to be able to create that moment for members of the general public?
I think the opportunity to lay down a flower, a wreath of any color, any type, truly represents a commemoration an act of love, an act of honor and respect.
Wow, Aaron, and I know that you lived there, so that's not your first time. But did you feel a different weight at the Centennial?
There's so much to learn about the cemetery and about the tomb and about the soldiers who were there. It's one of those places that every time you're there, there's a sense of reverence that overwhelms you. And you want to take time to learn more every time.
And you do learn more every time. Great story, Aaron.
Thank you.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.